This is why, ladies and gentlemen, when you get over your anger with Elijah Muhammad and your unwillingness to analyze who he was because you can't get beyond some act you think, just destroys everything he was about. And you fall into a trap when you do this. I call this super niggerism. When all of those who may have achieved some position of leadership or influence must be perceived as totally and superly clean and must not be perceived as having one chink of a flaw in their personality. There is no man who is unflawed. He who is without sin cast the first stone. And yet when you demand of your leaders that they be totally saints and total saints, then all your enemy has to do is put one little smudge of dirt on them. And everything of value that they have to offer now is thrown out. And no lessons are learned. Yes. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is due a good analysis of his leadership and what he had to offer black people, regardless of what you may think. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the greatest psychologist that black people ever created, bar none. But you see, that sounds odd if you haven't taken time to get around your anger, to look at what was going on there. You understand? When you look at the mythologies of Islam as just mythologies, without looking at them in their political and economic function, it was not an issue as to whether the white man was a true devil or not, which he is. But what would be the result of our behavior if we perceived him as one? You see? If we related to him, what? As one. Not as an object to be merged with, to be assimilated with, to be integrated with, but as one to be pushed away, and one so that we could engage in our own self-development instead of trying to create ourselves to fit his image of who we should be. You thought Elijah Muhammad was hard when he dictated diet and taste, but your taste had already been dictated by the Europeans. And it had been dictated in such a way that you became gluttons for European things. And being glutton for European things, you gave them all of your money. You gave them more than you even earned. That's why you're in debt today. And in giving away and feeding your gluttonous appetites that the Europeans had inculcated in you, you had no money left to educate your children, no money left to invest in your businesses, no money left to support your families and the other social institutions. And now you wonder why your children are stabbing you in the streets and robbing you. And Elijah Muhammad then says we will change their taste. Let them eat bean pie. Let them get a taste for this kind of clothing. Let them get an interest in this. Let them lose their taste for alcohol. Let them lose their taste for cigarettes. Let them lose their taste for junk food. Let them eat once a day. Why? Because they spend from $2,000 to $5,000 a year per person buying junk and garbage. And therefore, with that savings, they can build their own institutions, universities of Islam across this country. But you see, when you let other people determine your perception of your own leaders, you fall back to be victimized by those people and fall back into your old habits, which of course lead to supporting them. And we have to understand then what this is about. This is why ultimately you see an African-centered education is not a mere teaching of African history and culture, but ultimately a reorganization of the African personality and a reorganization of African taste and interests such that Africans become self-supporting and self-sufficient and become a powerful people.